how you fulfill products on Amazon, it's very, very important. Deciding if you want to do FBA and Prime or deciding if you want to do FBM and fulfilling yourself can impact conversion significantly. My name is Yanni. I've been selling on Amazon for over 5 years, and I also own a full service Amazon agency where we work with over 25 brands, doing anywhere between 30,000 per month to $1 million plus per month. And at one point we're doing over 15,000 fulfilled by merchant orders. So we do have a lot of experience when it comes to this topic and Amazon in general. So let's get into the video. FBM or FBA? First, we need to understand what these are. FBM is fulfilled by merchant. FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. So fulfilled by merchant is when you list a product on Amazon, a customer buys it, and you fulfill it yourself. Now you can use a prep center as well, but the whole responsibility is on you. You handle the picking, the packing, the shipping, you do everything. It's similar to eBay or how you would do it on TikTok Shop. You basically control the logistics, but you also are responsible for the logistics. FBA on the other side is the opposite. FBA, you send your products to Amazon. Amazon gives you the Prime badge, which everyone loves, and they take care of fulfillment. So anything that happens, they're responsible for that. Amazon will handle all the storage, the packing, the picking, everything, and all the customer service as well. A big part of this is location as well. Location matters significantly. So if you're in Europe, Europe is much smaller. So in a place like the UK, you can do FBM and dispatch and ship everywhere in a day. So if you order something today, I can have it next day because the country is small. In a place like the US, FBM is a bit different because if someone orders from Los Angeles and I'm in New York, I'm not going to be able to do that overnight. So you need to understand that part as well. Now let's go into the pros and cons of FBM and FBA. So let's start with FBM. FBM, the pros are the fact that you control your stock. Even if a listing gets taken down for your product, you can still make a new listing or you can sell it on other platforms. Full stock control is one of the biggest parts. Cash flow can be better. What do I mean by that? Because you buy a product today and you can sell it today, your cash flow will be better. Amazon doesn't pay you out instantly. So you can sell a product today, you deliver it tomorrow, and in 7 days from that, Amazon release that payment to you. So the cash conversion cycle can be much shorter. And also the fact that you don't have to prepare it and send it to FBA. You have more time. You can sell stock faster, which is a big part. Big FBM operations, you usually see them when it's a bigger business and they have warehouse capacities, because that's a big part. If you really want to do it properly, you want to have your own warehouse, your own staff, and your own operations, where things get more complicated. Another great thing about FBM is their fees are lower, significantly lower. And especially it makes a lot of sense if you're selling bigger and heavier items because you can get great rates from shipping, especially if you're doing volume. Another advantage you can get with FBM is the more volume you do, the better rates you get from the couriers. That's something that Amazon doesn't provide. Regardless of the volume you do on Amazon, the fees are going to stay the same for you. Another thing that people that don't sell FBM don't realize is that if you sell one product or if you sell two products to the same customer, the profit increases significantly because you're paying shipping once. On FBA, it doesn't matter if you sell 100 products to the same person, they're going to charge their fees individually. Now let's get into the cons. The cons are that you need space, especially if you're doing volume, you need a lot of space. You need operations. When you start getting to a certain volume of a couple of hundred orders per day, you need someone to pack them for you, or if you pack them, it's going to require a lot of time. So operations become a much bigger part than they would be with Amazon FBA. Also, cost can be bigger because now if you get a warehouse, you need to lease. You have employees, you start getting a lot more overheads, packing stations, packing materials. It can become very expensive very fast if you don't understand how to run it. So another big con is the responsibility side. When you're doing FBA, there's pretty much no responsibility from your side, as long as you're selling real products, good products. When you're doing FBM, all the responsibilities on you, the shipping, the delivery. If there's any issues, even if the courier messes up, Amazon still blames you. If they give you negative seller feedback, it's a lot more difficult to remove. They see you almost as the courier. You take full responsibility of what happens. And when a courier messes up, that's seen as your mess up. So all the A to Z claims, all the negative reviews, those can impact your account significantly and you don't have that much control over them. Also, when it comes to FBM, conversion rates tend to be lower compared to FBA. Everyone wants the Prime badge. Now, you can do seller fulfilled Prime, which still will have the Prime badge, but many times it's not as fast, so conversion rates still will be impacted slightly. And to maintain seller fulfilled Prime, you have to have your operations dialed incredibly well. Now let's go to the FBA side. What are the pros? So the Prime badge is one of the biggest ones. You have the Prime badge. Everyone that has Prime will favor you. Your conversion rate will increase significantly because everyone wants to get Prime. Another one that's a big one is Amazon handles all the logistics. You don't have to really do anything from your side. You send the products to Amazon, and if anything happens, Amazon's going to take care of it. You don't have to worry about, do I have the space? You don't have to worry about if they're going to damage them. There's a lot less worrying from an operational standpoint, and you don't have to be clued in for operations. If you don't have a lot of SKUs, and if you're doing private label, it can be easier to scale, because if you have 5 SKUs, you send the products and Amazon takes care of them. You need to be careful, of course, that Amazon doesn't mess up, doesn't lose your orders. You need to always keep an eye on that. But from a scale perspective, it can be a lot more scalable. because you don't need that big of a team. You don't need to hire a warehouse, especially if you're not doing crazy volume. You can even ship it from your house, or you just send it to prep center and they ship it for you. So that's a very, very big factor as well. Now, pros are great, but let's go to the cons again. And the cons here are they have higher fees for a lot of the products, especially for heavy and bulky items. The fees are crazy. The more you keep your product, the more you have to pay storage fees. So that's another big part in fees. You also have less inventory control. Like, you don't control your inventory. If you have a listing and that gets shut down, you don't have access to that inventory because all the inventory is with Amazon. So it's going to be a lot more difficult to sell on other platforms. It's going to be difficult to do stock management. If you have other platforms, it's going to be more difficult. So you really need to be clued in that sense. You need to understand that the stock control now is a lot less. What I've seen bigger brands do is they have FBA stock, they have FBM stock, and they also have stock for other platforms. So that's something you can also do. There's always a solution to everything, but it does become more complicated. Now, the big question is, what should you do as a brand? The first thing is, what's your size and what are your margins? If you have good margins with FBA, and most importantly, you're a small and light product, that makes sense, because small and light products on FBA, the fees are much lower and they're super easy to ship and you can do crazy volumes. If I had anywhere between 3 to 10 assets of my own products and they were small and light and I had good margins, I would do Prime, I would do FBA all day, every day, because operationally it's much easier, and this way I can focus on having the best product and making sure that I'm seen. Because if you're a brand owner, that's what you should be focusing on. You want to focus on how to get the best product in the market that has the best market fit. That's really it, right? You really don't want to be packing and picking boxes all day, every day, because that removes time for you to build a bigger and better brand. Now, when does FBM make sense? FBM makes sense if you understand operations and warehousing. If you have that skill set in, that's already an advantage. If you're doing a certain volume and you can get preferential rates with shipping. If you're doing heavy and bulky items, FBA makes a lot of sense. We have brands that have furniture and that have heavy items. For them, FBM makes a lot of sense. But what I personally like the most is the hybrid model. You have FBM, you have FBA, you have seller fulfilled Prime. You kind of want to be everywhere. It's not going to be very easy, but from a return standpoint, it gives you the best returns because you can be on all the channels. And if you have the margins, you can even use a prep center. And it really gives you a level of flexibility with stock that it's very difficult to have if you do only FBA or if you do only FBM. And it also gives you access to Prime and great conversion rates. So the hybrid model, in my opinion, is one of the best. But as I mentioned, if you have 3 to 10 products, you have good margins, FBA makes a lot of sense. Now, on the other side, if the products are very heavy, they're very bulky, they're not standard size, FBM will make a lot of sense. And bear in mind, your competition is not going to use FBA. So you're not going to compete with Prime badges. They're all going to be merchant fulfilled. So also that is a very important factor. Are your competitors using FBA or not? And of course, if you're advanced, you want to use everything. You want to use fulfilled by merchant, FBA, and seller fulfilled Prime. Because if you can do that, then opportunities become even bigger. Because fulfillment is not just logistics. It's a strategic decision that impacts your margin, how you're going to sell, how fast you're going to sell, and how much margin you're going to make. In business, it's all about edges. So the more edges you have, the more profitable you will be. I hope you like this video. A lot more to come. Stay tuned.